Go.
Okay. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Declaration of Independence, 1776. Today, I will be explaining how voting can be considered one of our unalienable rights, and as citizens of the United States, why it shouldn't be taken away from us, even those in prison. When going to prison, you don't lose your citizenship, and you shouldn't lose your right to vote. Voting is one of our most basic rights that should not be taken away, even in prison. These past few weeks, I've been conducting thorough research on our rights as citizens and how they extend to those in prison. Breaking the law doesn't take away a person's citizenship, and it shouldn't take away the person's right to a say in the political process in which they are and where they are a citizen. Let's begin by talking about why prisoners should be able to vote. The political system in the United States needs the perspective of the prisoners. Overcrowding, understaffing, and abuse occurs in a large number of prisons in the United States. These issues create a dangerous environment in which violence, fights, and medical emergencies are very common. Prisoners don't generally get much sympathy from the society regarding these issues. However, sympathy isn't the issue here, and shouldn't be the issue here. The 8th Amendment of the Constitution from 1787 states, "Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted." Some of these conditions that prisoners are forced to live in and endure qualify as cruel and unusual punishment, which clearly is contraindicated by our Constitution. Voting is an extension of freedom of speech, and as an extension of one of our most basic rights, should not be taken away from any citizen. Citizenship is not a right that expires upon misbehavior. 12 verse Duels, 1958. You don't lose your citizenship when you break the law and go to prison, and you shouldn't lose your right to vote. The Constitution grants us certain rights that cannot be taken away from us. As a citizen of the United States, there isn't any reason you shouldn't be able to vote. In my survey, I asked, "Do you think voting is an extension of freedom of speech? Why or why not?" Someone answered, "Yes, I do, because it is a way for us to put down on our paper our opinions and our thoughts and feelings on who we feel, for example, would be the best representation for our country." There are frequently laws upon the ballot affecting prisoners and prison conditions, although the large majority being affected by these possible changes don't get a say in them. According to Brett Schneider in 2016, the vast majority of state prisoners cannot vote, yet they are often counted in the population for the legislative district of their prison, the main factor that determines a state's number of representatives and its presidential electoral votes. Allowing prisoners to vote would help to alleviate some of these issues. Prisoners being able to vote would help shed some light on many of these terrible conditions, as well as beginning to create positive changes in these facilities. The ability for prisoners to vote varies state to state. In Ohio, prisoners are not able to vote. However, in Ohio, if there is enough people sign a petition for initiative, that initiative may be put on a ballot for the next election. Allowing prisoners to vote would give them some sort of connection back to society and a reason to want to be rehabilitated, as well as fix some of the issues that are happening. In my survey, I asked, "Do you think prisoners should be able to vote after they complete their time in jail or re-enter society?" In which every single person who took my survey answered yes. Now I ask you, why not allow people who are in prison to vote? Another question I asked in my survey is, do you think that the severity of the crime in which they committed affects whether or not they should be able to vote? Why or why not? One person answered, "The law states that any United States citizen has the right to vote. I think that they should be able to vote since they have the right to as a United States citizen, even if they're not law-abiding," which is exactly what I was trying to get with this question. It is of high interest for most of society that the many of individuals who walk out of prisons each year are reformed citizens and able to contribute to society in a positive way. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, in 2019, 95% of prisoners are released from prison at some point. Not allowing for prisoners to vote further alienates them from society and creates a sort of civic death. In 2019, Bowie says, "You lose your liberty, your place in civil society, and freedoms that come with it. But doing it that way, subjecting prisoners to the kind of social death, is in conflict with the idea of inalienable rights and cannot be curtailed. Giving them this basic right will make them feel less alienated and more connected to society. which will aid them in the returning to society. According to the Sentencing Project in 2019, reentry into the community is a difficult process, but individuals who have strong connections to the community are more likely to be successful. In addition to having adequate housing, employment, and peer support, engagement in the political process provides an avenue for connection to the health of the broader community. All citizens of the United States should be able to vote, whether they're in prison or not. They did not lose their citizenship when they committed a crime, and they should not lose their right to vote. Ohio is one of the 22 states that uses the initiative statute, which allows for an initiative to be put on a ballot after a number of signatures are collected. There is a petition for giving prisoners the right to vote in Ohio. By signing this petition, you'll be helping to get the right for prisoners to vote on ballot for the next election. Help to do your part and sign this petition and vote in the next election. Everyone deserves a chance for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.